to the Scouting Room Podcast with Dame and Dan. If you love NFL football, college football, and the NFL Draft, this podcast is for you. Touchdown! Dame and Dan will provide real analysis featuring analytics and film to back up their takes. Please sit down, grab your drink, and let's scout.
Welcome back to the Scouting Room NFL podcast with Dame and Dan. I'm Dame. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report and the host of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast. That's my guy, Dan. He's also an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report, as well as an NFL and NFL draft analyst with RGR Football. And guys, as always, appreciate y'all tapping in and really taking the time with your boys here on the NFL Scouting Podcast. And I promise you, this is going to be a place where we talk NFL talk, bold predictions, all that stuff as we get ready for the NFL season. And what gets us ready for the NFL season? The biggest storylines from training camp or heading into training camp. Can Omarion Hampton make waves and steal the RB1 job for the Los Angeles Chargers with Najee Harris out after that fireworks injury? It's a quarterback clash that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the situation in Indianapolis. Who should lead the Colts? The electric Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones? And we're going to kick the show off with this topic, Dan. Is Minnesota ready, or is JJ McCarthy ready to take the reins and lead the Vikings offense? Guys, strap in. We're breaking it all down, giving our takes, and getting ready for the season ahead. JJ McCarthy, man, we talked about, we ranked the NFC West quarterbacks last week, Dan, yep. And we talked about Sam Darnold, the big year he had for the Vikings and everything. And I pound the table every day and twice on Sunday. I love Kevin O'Connell. I love Kevin O'Connell as a coach, what he brings as a coach and what he does for his players. I love the way he thinks, his offensive mind, the way he structures and attacks defenses. That was a big part of why Sam Darnold was successful last year. Now you have which will essentially be his rookie year, right? JJ McCarthy, guy from your neck of the woods, your school, Michigan. Those Wolverines led you guys to a national championship in, what was that, 2023? The 2023 season, capped it off with a title and everything. Dan, how do you feel about JJ McCarthy getting ready for his inaugural season in the NFL?
I loved what he was able to do, I think, coming out. And just bear with me, guys. I'm moving, so I'm literally in a corner of my old room. Like, there's nothing here. I'm in an old, chair that I had outside. Like, there's not a lot going on, so you might hear some echoey things you don't normally hear. But JJ McCarthy is, I think, the quintessential quarterback that Kevin O'Connell wants. He's going to do what he's asked. I think he was pretty good at dissecting defenses at Michigan. And one of the things Jim Harbaugh really asked him to do is, you see him make that throw against Ohio State a few years ago. Everyone's like, did he know the safety wasn't going to turn around? Yes. He knew it. I think that we could see the film study right there showcasing on that throw specifically. So we know that this is going to be a very good quarterback and coach combination. The big thing was last year, Sam Darnold got better against pressure, and he had to. The interior of the offensive line was awful. It was not good. They really couldn't run the ball between the tackles either. So you had Aaron Jones that was coming in having to take everything outside, which, he's what he wants to do, but he's old now. He needs to be able to get downhill quickly and then get down before he gets hit. So you draft Donovan Jackson, who can give you some snaps at tackle, as well as we saw with Ohio State last year. Mm-hmm. With Christian Darrisaw coming off the injury, we'll see how that ends up working out early in the season. They bring in Ryan Kelly for center from the Colts, got rid of him and Will Fries, and the Vikings were like, these guys in, they have the mentality that we want on the interior. So I like what they've done from that standpoint, because you still need to make sure that JJ McCarthy can stand in the pocket sometimes and then just dissect. He's good on the move. We know he has the arm talent. I would say he's got a good arm, not an elite arm. I know the velocity stuff is there. It's fine, but I think he has problems controlling his arm strength and arm talent. We saw that at Michigan all the time with the inaccuracies down the field. This is going to take some time. You have Jordan Addison, obviously, will deal with his suspension when that comes, but you also have the best receiver in football in Justin Jefferson. And then T.J. Hawkinson's going to be the key for this offense, in my opinion. Young quarterbacks love them some tight ends. They need tight ends to trust over the middle of the field. And really what T.J. Hawkins is going to bring is exactly what J.J. McCarthy needs early on in his career. So I'm excited about what this is going to look like, but we don't have a clue. We haven't even really seen him in training camp. He got hurt in training camp last year, so we haven't seen him do enough on the field with the Vikings. I can be as excited as I want to. I can project what I want, but at the end of the day, we have to go out and actually see it. We all have optimism because Sam Darnold was put in a situation where he was able to succeed. I think JJ McCarthy is a better mental quarterback than Sam Darnold was, so that's why I'm excited.
Yeah, same. And I think the combination of, like you said, because we always talk about arm talent, like his arm strength is good, right? The velocity, the RPMs, the ability to drive the ball down the field, and in a division, right, where, I mean, let's see, you got the Lions, we have the Packers, and we have the Bears. The Vikings play their home games in the dome. They do travel to Detroit. That's another dome. But the two games outside are two cold teams that you have to deal with inclement weather depending on when those games are scheduled. If they're scheduled in the back end of the schedule where you're on the road in Green Bay, on the road in Chicago, you need a guy that has the arm talent and the arm strength to cut through those icy, cold winds. Like I know that whenever we talk about quarterbacks and stuff, like it was a big talking point with like Shedeur Sanders, and people were like, well, I don't know if I want him going to New York because of the swirling winds in the stadium and stuff. And like, guys, that's a real thing. Like, that's a real thing that teams think about is, can you throw and cut through the potential inclement weather we will face? Not, okay, yeah, we got a game against Green Bay, but we play Green Bay every 7 years. No, that's an out-of-division opponent. No, in division, do you have the arm talent to be able to drive those throws and make those throws when we need it, right? You don't want to be 3rd and 10 with the game on the line and your quarterback doesn't have the arm, have the arm to drive it, man. You got to be able to do that. I think, to your point, and we've talked about this, it's the arm talent discussion. It's one thing to have arm strength. It's another thing to have arm talent and understand how to use your arm strength. When you have full control over your arm, it's like a pitcher. I always compare pitchers to quarterbacks. When I looked at JJ McCarthy at Michigan, I saw every tool, the athleticism, the arm strength. I said, yeah, he can be a fastball pitcher. But can he develop the curve, the slider, the changeup? Yeah. Can you throw? You need it, man. Like, you have to be able to layer the football over underneath defenders, especially against zone. Because if I remember correctly, I was looking at some numbers. I don't have them directly in front of me, but it looks like on 1st and 2nd down, the NFL over the last year or two have been playing more zone defenses or zone coverages earlier in downs. And then on the money downs, they want to try and mix it up and go to more man and disrupt timing, be physical at the line of scrimmage, things like that. Well, if you got linebackers underneath, right? You got Green Bay has Quay Walker and those guys. Like, you got to be able to put that ball over the top. And I think Quay Walker's like 6'3". So you got to put the ball over the top of that big athlete, man. You got to be able to layer it. You want to hit that skinny post to the tight end? You can't bullet that. That's a pick or a batted pass that could turn into an interception. So to your point, yes, he has to develop and really take his arm talent serious into that next level. Because I think if JJ McCarthy does that, and I honestly feel like Kevin O'Connell's going to use his legs. I think we're going to see some QB zone reads. We're going to see things where his legs are involved. You think about getting under center, the stretch zone run with the naked boot action. Now while he's on the move off the boot action, he essentially becomes a walking RPO. He can either throw it, or if he's approaching the line of scrimmage and everybody's covered, I can get 5 and get out of bounds, and now it's 2nd and 5, and we're ahead of the chains. That's what you want to see, and I think that's what Kevin O'Connell might do early in the season, early in games, to get him settled in, right? Sam Darnold's been one of the most sporadic and scattered quarterbacks from a confidence and mental standpoint. What did Kevin O'Connell do for him? Settle him down. This is a guy that talked about seeing ghosts. We talked about that last week. Seeing ghosts. He's out here talking, I'm seeing ghosts. That was something that he said in a real football game on the sideline, guys. Yeah. So Kevin O'Connell be able to take a guy like that who's been all these different places and get him to play in a career year football, of course, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, all that helps. That stuff does help, but having a coach like Kevin O'Connell does a lot for it, and I think he'll help JJ McCarthy a lot.
Yeah, I like what they're able to do. And just to your point a little bit about the offense, last season they were one of the, like a top 10 offense in terms of yards per pass. So yards per pass, they attempted it was 6.8 yards. EPA per pass, they were top 12, I believe. You have that offense. We know Kevin O'Connell is going to do that. But the key stat here for me is time to throw. 3.0 seconds, which was second in the NFL, next to the Baltimore Ravens. So we're talking about scheme. And when you talk about getting the quarterback on the move, that's not just bootleg out. That's fake bootleg. We see quarterbacks do that half bootleg and then they settle back in the pocket. Maybe they'll bring a guard over as well. You bring that natural pocket over. You move the pocket. You create different platforms.
Full run cell.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that what we are going to see is the continuation of that. But for Sam Darnold, it was more of a reactionary athlete. He was not necessarily someone you want to move, get on the run, use their legs in that way. And JJ McCarthy will absolutely take advantage of spots. I think he'll be a better scrambler. And that's the thing for me is that when he can become a better scrambler, that's when Minnesota actually, their offense might truly be unlocked, because you go from Kirk Cousins to Sam Darnold, who I think got better. Again, he was coached a little bit better with kind of Kevin O'Connell. Yeah. But for a guy like McCarthy who wants to scramble, who wants to get out and move and wants to make some of those game, first downs on third down, that is the dynamic for this offense that I think they really do need. So the offensive line changes, the willingness to run the football, I think, is going to be there as well. And I like what they're going to be able to do off platform, creating different angles for JJ McCarthy.
And I'll ask this before and then we'll transition into the Omarion Hampton situation and with the Chargers. But Dan, what should Viking fans be looking for in training camp as not day 1 and 2? I always go back to Bryce Young's rookie year with the Carolina Panthers. I went to camp and I told those Panther fans as I was getting ready to leave, this offense is going to be terrible. I was like, I think the first day or two, Bryce was lighting the defense up. And then it was like repetitive motions, where he was throwing. It was always to Adam Thielen. It was a crosser. The defense started jumping it. And it was just like, oh, yeah, this is going to be bad. You know what I mean? So it's not the start. It's more so the progressionary aspect of it for JJ McCarthy. What should Vikings fans be looking for as training camp progresses once he gets there?
Yeah, I think that, like you said, I don't care so much about interceptions, because I've lived through the Patrick Mahomes just throwing too many interceptions at training camp phase in my life. Training camp is where you should be throwing interceptions. But to your point, with the Bryce Young, it was because they were underthrown. I want to see JJ McCarthy challenging windows, because he has the arm talent to do so. And then you talked about the zones. See if he's messing with the velocity on his more arc on the football. Look at how he's managing the pocket, because he is coming off of the ACL tear. Look at his footwork. If he looks skittish when he gets a little bit, obviously they can't get hit. But still, if someone's coming at you, your body's going to react a certain way. If it's a little jittery, then you might be a little bit more worried about what he's going to do early in the season, in preseason. But also, if he looks fluid back there, if he looks confident, if he's getting out on the move, he's able to throw across his body. Today's NFL is a little bit different. It's a little encouraged for some of these quarterbacks to throw across the body. If he's taking the confidence to throw across the field to some of these guys, you should be very, very excited about what he can do. But if he starts to look a little skittish, if he's still only driving the football into those secondary windows instead of trying to touch behind the linebackers, we might have a little bit of something else to worry about.
Just a little bit. Let's transition here. Talk about the second RB off the board in the 2025 NFL Draft. First round pick to the Los Angeles Chargers, Omarion Hampton, right? We know about, it was the 4th of July. I think that's where it happened. The 4th of July accident. I swear I was thinking about it. On 4th of July, I was like, man, I hope no one does anything crazy from a athletic standpoint, right? You don't hear about this happening to basketball players. It's always football players. Like, I hope no football player has an accident on 4th of July with any fireworks, because it always seems like it's something happens around 4th of July. Right. And we know the Jason Pierre-Paul situation, and now we got Najee Harris. And there was a situation where, he's I think it was something happened with his eye. So, like, he's not starting out training camp. He's not able to practice to start training camp. That gives their first round pick, who, I'll be honest, Dan, even though I believe they paid Najee like 8.5 for the year, which is a 1-year deal, like 8.5 million. And as I sat there after they drafted Omarion Hampton, I thought to myself, he's going to be heavily involved regardless. This is Greg Roman running this offense. And I always get mixed. Jim Harbaugh. I was about to say John. Jim Harbaugh. I always get them both mixed up. So yes, we got Greg Roman, who is a full-blown run game coordinator through and through, cuts his teeth as a run game coordinator. And then Jim Harbaugh, who loves to beat you up at the line of scrimmage, loves to out-physical you. I felt like, regardless, Omarion Hampton was going to be involved. I think with this situation, now we look at it and say we get to week 1 or preseason, depending on how long Najee's out, stuff like that. Because remember the Justin Herbert? Wow, it's really weird. This has happened to the Chargers twice. But Justin Herbert wasn't supposed to start his rookie year, or at the beginning. It's supposed to be Tyrod, and then there was the random incident with the shot or needle, whatever it was, and then puncturing a lung, and it's like, Tyrod can't play. It was like, what? What happened here? So then Justin Herbert takes over. He becomes a franchise quarterback. It's all history, right? It feels like it's trending to that same situation with Omarion Hampton to me.
Yeah, I think we all kind of expect, like you said, there was going to be some kind of wanting Jim Harbaugh to get his guy. And Najee Harris was more of a bridge running back. Yeah, it was someone that we know you're going to be someone we can hand the football off to and get some just tough yards. We're going to just kind of battering ram you for an extent. Like, he's not been a very efficient running back to this point in his career.
Right.
But one, you're good enough. I don't think Najee's a bad running back. I think he's a good running back, but he's limited in what he can do for an explosive offense. But if you look at what the Chargers want to do, they want to run the football. They want to do those things. And one of the things I can't stand looking at, they were 5th last year in stuffed percentage. The Chargers offense, nearly 20% of the time, they're run once every 5 times they handed the football off, it was stuffed, which is not what you want to see from an offensive line perspective. Obviously, bringing in Mekhi Becton, I know he missed the opening of training camp. He was getting his ring, so don't worry too much, Chargers fans. He was just going with the Eagles to get his ring. But they run the football at a top 10 rate, 45.5%, which is, again, a top 10 in the NFL. But when we go into, like I said, the stuff percentage is not great. You have a lot of these indicators. They're still about top 10, top 12 in most of the attempts to run the rush EPA or EPA per rush, things like that. But their success rate last season. Funny enough, Washington Commanders were number 1 in success rate. I could not believe that when I looked at that myself. The Chargers were yeah, you're right. Exactly. Thank you, Jaden Daniels, for that.
Right.
The Los Angeles Chargers last year were 29th in the NFL in success percentage per run, 37.6%. That's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. And you're not going to get a lot better with just Najee Harris being the front runner in your run game. You need someone that can create explosive plays. And Omarion Hampton has all the tools to be that guy, not just the guy that on the first, second down, but we know he's got soft hands. He can explode after the catch, a good screen player. I think that North Carolina didn't do a great job of getting him the football in different routes. He is not the greatest, short yardage athlete, short area athlete in the world in terms of the twitch and making guys miss like that. He will more create better angles for himself with his body positioning, putting his shoulder down, kind of moving his body out of the way, creating arm tackles. That's what he's really good at. But we know explosivity is what NFL teams need. And Omarion Hampton's going to bring that. He brings the physicality. I believed even before the incident with Najee Harris that Omarion Hampton would be the, majority touch getter in the backfield there just because of the talent that he is. This clearly clears the way for him.
100%. I think, you talk about Najee. Najee's a really good pass catcher out of the backfield, which is wild because he's such a big body. You know what I mean? I'll never forget when he was at Bama and they lined him up in the slot and ran a fade route. And he mossed the linebacker. And I was like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? It's like, who's a 6'3", 235-pound running back that's running slot fades and just mossing linebackers for touchdowns. Like, this shouldn't be happening, but it did, right? And you know that he's a guy that Najee's physical in space with that stiff arm, but he's more of a want to make you miss type of runner. He's more of a finesse runner in that regard where, yeah, Omarion Hampton is 225 pounds of muscle, top to bottom. He is well proportionate from his build. He is a hammer. He's going to run through your face mask. And he's going to bring that violent physical style while also having the breakaway speed, burst, and acceleration to create and generate big time plays in the run game. But also screen game. I think that's where they could really utilize Hampton in the passing game is the screen game. Just like RB middle screens where he's faking the block, sits, pitch it, and then now you got the center guard, the guard center guard trio leading him upfield against linebackers. And now once he gets up there to safeties and corners, it's some business decisions will have to be made in the secondary, Dan. And once he's up, because he was a 4.44, I think in the 40, 4.46, 4.4 athlete at 225. Yeah, and he will run through you. You have to make a business decision on how you want to approach that in open field at full speed. It's up to you. A warner's discretion, like discretionary warning. He could hurt you, and I think, like you said, regardless of Najee was healthy or not, we expected him to be the guy. What I felt like it was going to be a situation where they did the kind of college thing where it's like, oh, we gave the elder guy the early start and touches. Then once you get the young guy going, it's like, okay, we're going to ride with the hot hand, and we're never changing from the young guy. Like, once the young guy gets hot and once he starts rolling, like once Omarion Hampton would have gotten rolling early in the season with Najee Harris healthy, I feel like it would have been an Omarion Hampton show for the most part. We still would have seen Najee Harris because they're going to – I mean, you paid them 8.5. You're going to use them. Like, you're going to use that body up. You're going to give him touches to take hits, things like that. But just from when you really think about it, that's how I look at that situation overall, is that Omarion Hampton, I think, in camp right now, because they went into camp early. I think they were the first team in camp for rookies. I think it was like July 12th. Like, it was the first team in camp. Right now, it's not padded stuff, right? It's a lot of bag work. It's a lot of like individual drills, stuff like that. Like, you're going to get the team drills, but it's no tackling. What I'm ready to see is what happens. That first interaction in the lane of him and I think it's Diane Henley from Washington State last year. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be a full-blown head-on car collision of teammates, right? Just pads popping. That's where you're going to really get the benefits of a Omarion Hampton, where you can get excited about, Chargers fans. You can get excited about stuff right now, but once the pads are on, that's where you get excited for, because you're going to get to see him actively run through guys, but also as a pass protector for Justin Herbert, proving that he can sit back there, ID and survey and ID free runners, take that blitzer on, stonewall them, and give your quarterback time to throw the ball.
Yeah, you might see early on Najee be that third down back because, like you said,
probably.
One, he's good. We already know he's a good pass catcher. He's already more proven as a pass protector. So you want Justin Herbert to have that early on. But like you said, training camp, we want to see those roles for Omarion Hampton. You want to see him paying attention to Najee, what he's doing technically speaking, because that was the one thing I think on third down situations was the technique. Omarion Hampton wants to be physical. He wants to be able to knock you over, but you have to be able to kind of learn the speed of the game, one, and how you need to position your hands, but also your hips, right? You have to be able to take it and absorb that power, where when you have a blitzer here, being able to sort through, all right, this blitzer's not coming, this guy's coming off the edge, I have to go take him, how the communication works, all that stuff. So I think Najee early on is going to have that role, but if he continues to show in training camp and in preseason, then Omarion Hampton can handle it. And I think it's not necessarily about that, it's about the communication of the center and knowing where the blitz is coming from. If you're late to that blitz off the edge, you're not going to get early protection duties. But if he can show that during early on in the training camp and in the preseason, I think they'll be more comfortable giving him those roles as well.
100%, man. Let's close this thing out. Dan, let's go to the team that doesn't know who their quarterback is, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. Remember I think it's during OTAs, the report came out, and people panicked. Like, oh my God, like Anthony Richardson's done. Like he's got his shoulders messed up. He's not going to be able to practice. That whole report came out because their head coach is not really good with the media. I text one of my guys there. I said, "Hey, what's going on? What's really happening?" He said, "Man, AR is fine." I think I text you right after I got the text. I was like, "Yeah, AR is fine." It was kind of fatigue because he was working out so much prior to mini camp and OTAs that his shoulder was a little fatigued. He was like, "He's fine." It's not a situation where, from what I was told, the quarterback battle is still wide open between him and Daniel Jones. And the simple fact of the matter is this. A-Rich was a guy that you have to... Self-awareness is so important, guys, in life, right? Like, if you're not good at something, you either work to get better, but you acknowledge you're not good at it. I wasn't always good at podcasting. Well, you should listen to some of my first episodes I ever done. Terrible. Absolutely garbage. But I've gotten better, clearly. You know what I mean? So, but the thing is, with the Colts, in that situation, you knew what you were drafting in Anthony Richardson. You knew he was a raw, unproven, really toolsy and physically gifted, just a physical freak at quarterback, but he didn't play enough football. He had less than 30 starts in college football, right? And that's kind of my new trend now, Dan, is I'm looking at guys who started more than 30 games, like to get a good sample size when I'm scouting these guys. But you knew he was raw. And instead of treating him as a raw quarterback, you came in and you gave the perception that, hey, he's going to lead us to the promised land. He's going to get us back where Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning had it. No, that should have never been kind of the case. He never really got the chance to truly develop, and then he got hurt. You bring in Daniel Jones, and if you're telling me this is what competition looks like, I have really major concerns about your thought process. We talked about Malik Neighbors, and we said that Daniel Jones gave Malik Neighbors catchable targets. He also threw that man, I believe, into 2 concussions last year, if I remember correctly. Yes. He's never been a quarterback that could carry feeding 2, 3, 4 options as a passer. We talk same stuff we talk about with Sam Darnold. It's the same thing with Daniel Jones. Mentally, he's been sporadic, he's been erratic, and he's been scattered. He lacks confidence 9 times out of 10 when he plays. So the Colts are in a situation where, in my opinion, the front office and coaching staff, this is your last hurrah. Because if A-Rich is not your starter and he's not leading you to wins, I don't foresee Daniel Jones doing that either, to be completely honest. And if that's the case, you're all getting canned at the end of when Black Monday comes or whatever it is, where all the coaches getting their pink slips, that coaching staff and that front office will be getting theirs because you hitched your wagon to a raw quarterback that you haven't fully actually developed. And to bring in Daniel Jones and potentially give fans the expectation that he's the savior as a starter, oh, that's piss poor to me. I don't think it's a good idea. We've watched Daniel Jones, Dan. We've all watched him for years in New York. He got paid for throwing 15 touchdowns. That was the let's go. We got one. 15? Like 15 to maybe 20. Like, no. So the Colts are in a very weird situation. Training camp's going to be big for him. AR's been cleared. He'll be ready to go. But that battle, which it seems to be a real open one, a lot of people's jobs are on the line right now.
Let's not forget Daniel Jones. The fans in New York were calling for Tommy Cutlets to be the starting quarterback. Tommy Cutlets was they wanted him to be the quarterback. Let's not forget. You can't, like you said, this organization right now is trying to tread water. It's not working. Mm-hmm. It's like when I was in high school, I had this like NASA program. It was actually really cool. We had like an Olympic-sized water swimming pool where we all went and did this test. You have to tread water for a certain amount of minutes. I'm not good at treading water, guys. I'm not. Neither. I'm not good at it. So I'm sitting here like failing to do so. This is what the Colts are doing. They're trying to like work their way to the part of the pool where it dips down so where you can like touch your toe, right? They're like just trying to keep themselves above water. It's not working out right now. Exactly. They're just trying to find, like, I'm deep enough. I swear I'm deep enough, but I'm really not. My foot can touch because I'm tall. Like that's what they're trying to do right now.
Right.
And when you bring in Daniel Jones and you seriously tell your fan base that these are the 2 quarterbacks that we're going for right now, and Daniel Jones is in serious consideration, there's a problem. And not all of it is Anthony Richardson's fault. Some of it absolutely is.
Yeah, so
like
absolutely.
it's not. He can't control the parts of his game right now that he's not developing. He's trying to work on his own, but then the injury stuff. You can't help that. You can't help Shane Steichen putting him back out there for a QB run after he's already hurt himself in the same football game. You can't do that. But what he could have done is not pulled himself from a football game saying he's tired.
Yes. That's
the maturity stuff.
You can't do that. Like, you put yourself in such a.
You can't do it.
You can't, like, because you take away what he did. Dan, is he took away the sympathy vote for himself, right? Like, because when you do that, because let's be honest, football fans have an overly exaggerated machismo about themselves. You have guys who've never played sports, or they play at their local Y, guys who have never done this, and they have so much confidence in what they know about the sport, and it's such an egotistical situation. Well, when you have fans like that, and then you're a player who is 6'5", who's 255, who's such a physical freak, and you're doing this to bring yourself out the game. We see old linemen do it. We see running backs, receivers, tight end. You know what you could have done? At the line of scrimmage, I am gassed. Kill, and just hand it off, right? Give yourself that's your breather. But that's your breather. Hand it off, okay? Hand it off, or you call a quick screen to, like, Josh Downs or somebody, and you just dump it. And you're like, whatever happens to you, bud, it's on you. But it's not in my hands anymore. I get to take a breath. Maybe he breaks it and takes it 20 yards. You're like, oh, great. Got a nice little walk to the next, down a distance marker. Get your breath back, things like that. Instead, you're like, hey, get me out of here. It's like, AR, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Didn't he get like a first down on the play before?
I think so.
And it was like, throw the ball out of bounds. Hike it.
Thank you.
If you're that tired, spike the ball. Do something to stop the clock. If you're in bounds, do something. I don't care. No one is going to care that you're a little tired in a football game. And I am sitting in my chair. I don't play football. Okay? I don't play football. I get to talk about it, luckily enough. But let's talk about the actual parts of the reasoning why this is, for me, not a really a quarterback competition. Mm-hmm. Everything points to Anthony Richardson. Experience in the offense, tools, the ability to actually push the ball down the field accurately. He's one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. Period. End of story. We know he is. He is not good at the consistency within the short to intermediate game. That's the part of the game he's had to work most on, and that's the accuracy. And there's also times where you see him creating throws he doesn't have to, throwing off of his back foot away from the receiver for no reason, drifting from. When you do that, it creates ball placement concerns and issues, and you're going to throw balls at the feet of your receivers. You're going to throw it into wrong windows. You're going to create turnover-worthy plays. Daniel Jones has been doing that for 5 years in the NFL. But here we are saying seriously that he should be in consideration as a starting quarterback over Anthony Richardson. Okay? Daniel Jones, and again, I'm a guy who fought for Daniel Jones. I was really excited to see what he could do with Brian Daboll. Let's not forget, he's been with Brian Daboll for 4 years, right? Mm-hmm. For 3 or 4 years. Shane Steichen was supposed to be an offensive genius for the Colts. Or are we saying that he's a better offensive coordinator than Brian Daboll? I'm going to say no. And so we're trying to inject a lot of confidence into our fan base that Daniel Jones can actually win this job, when in reality, there's no way, shape, or form that he should win this job. And if he does, Anthony Richardson's probably done in the NFL. If this is a real situation where it's a competition and he wins.
Yeah, AR is going to be out of Indy for sure. And he's going to go somewhere else and get with another coach and staff and be able to play the background situation. And, maybe he can Sam Darnold and Geno Smith his way to a contract and be able to, because what he hasn't been able to do is learn. And that was the thing, like,
yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like that was the bad thing about that situation. But like you said, if A-Rich doesn't work out, or if he doesn't get the reps this year because now what could you say? Okay, we say they start Daniel Jones. You start 0-4. You got to pull Daniel Jones. You have to. There's no way you keep that downward slope, that downward trend going and not give AR a chance. Then you get AR a chance and you start winning games, you prolong yourself some time. Right? Like, and again, I think getting Tyler Warren, adding him is a big deal to this offense. I think Kylan Granderson or whatever, like those tight ends, Jelani Woods can't stay healthy. He had the hamstring issues, soft tissue injuries and issues, but the tight ends couldn't catch the football consistently. I'll never get that Patriots game. AR threw dimes to them. and it just hits him in the hands and drops it. Granderson a lot of times wasn't where you wanted him to be in the progression in terms of depth and hitting his spots and stuff. It was a lot of things that went wrong. Adonai Mitchell has to play more physical, has to play more aggressive at the catch point and through contact. You know what I mean? Different things of that nature. I watched him last year. He dropped a go ball in that Patriots game against us. I think it wasn't Jack Jones. It was Marcus Jones, I think, the smaller corner for the Patriots. And I'm like, you're 6'2", 6'3", if I'm not mistaken. He's like 5'9", 5'10". If you don't go over the top of him and moss this kid, no, you let him beat you at the catch point. That's not what's supposed to happen here. So you got to get paying Michael Pittman. There's a lot of decisions I don't personally agree with because I feel like this receiving core I think is good. I just don't like who's the one, right? Like, do you have a one? Like, and the fact of the matter to me, I look at that, besides looking at paychecks, they don't have a one. They don't have a guy that a defense walks into, breaks the huddle and says, where's Waldo? That's when you have the one. When Malik Neighbors breaks the Giants huddle, they're looking for number one. They're looking for Uno. They're looking for him. Where is he? Jamar Chase. Where is Chase? Where is Justin Jefferson? Where are Tyreek Hill and Jalen Watt? When you have a guy who's a game changer, where is he? I think Adonai can be that, but he has to take that next step, Dan. And like I said, if AR doesn't work out, if he doesn't get the opportunities, if he doesn't work out, he's out of Indy. But guess who else is out of Indy? Shane Steichen, Chris Ballard, who the fans actually absolutely hate anyway from a team building standpoint. They can't stand their GM. So, yeah, it's a lot of things that, yeah, it will be a whole new quarterback, coaching staff, and GM in 2026 for the Indianapolis Colts, man.
I know that this kind of turned into a frustration session, a gripe session for the Colts, because you could tell how much Damian and I don't agree with a lot of the decisions that have been made by the Colts. And I'm going to say this. From an Anthony Richardson perspective, I still believe he can be a legitimately good quarterback in the NFL. Yeah. I believe sitting starters for a year has to come back, specifically in today's day and age in the NFL, because of Anthony Richardson, because of the tools. The way the game is changing in college football, not everyone's going to come in and just start. Cam Ward played 4 years. He went around college football. He learned a lot. So the Titans are like, yeah, we're good. He's got lots of reps under his belt. You couldn't feel that way about Richardson. I thought he should have rested. He shouldn't have started early on in his career. And then they said, yep, we're going to put you out there. What happened? He got hurt. And that's not his fault, by the way. That's not the coach's fault. That's not his fault. The compounding injury was the coach's fault, but that's neither here nor there. We need to allow some of these young players time to develop. And again, I'm an Anthony Richardson sympathizer. I'm going to say that out right now. I believe that he can be a very good quarterback, and a lot of his tape was still good. While I acknowledge that the short to intermediate stuff, the quick processing is where he needs to get better. He is not a very quick processor. He holds the football because he's too busy trying to figure out where it goes. And then by the time he figures it out, that's when he has to throw off his back foot falling away, and then we see, incompletion over here. So, yes, there are lots of tools. But I'm going to say right now, if Daniel Jones is starting for the Colts in week 1, we have serious problems in Indy.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a uphill climb for that coaching staff GM situation, because they have a lot they have to figure out, and it just is what it is, guys. But that's a wrap for today's episode of the Scouting Room NFL podcast with Dame and Dan. We broke down the backfield battle in Los Angeles with the Chargers, debated the Colts quarterback dilemma, and we looked at whether or not JJ McCarthy is ready to lead the Minnesota Vikings. Thank you so much for rocking with us, but don't miss the next one, because coming up next, guys, guys, we're going to be reacting to TJ Watt's new massive deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, breaking down the Detroit Lions defensive outlook. Aiden Hutchinson is back for 2025, and asking the big question, can the San Francisco 49ers defense take a leap forward this season? Hit the follow button, like, subscribe, drop a comment, but also if you listen on audio, please drop a 5-star rating, drop a rating, let us know, and we'll catch you next time, same feed on the NFL Scouting Podcast with Dame and Dan. I'm Dame, and that's Dan.